Greetings and salutations, and this is Techronaut here, back with more Spyro 2 Ripto's Rage. I wish I could roll my R's, because I would have done that for extra, like, effect, but I can't do that. I can't roll my R's. As much Spanish as I learned, I took fucking, what, 2 years in middle school and 2 in high school? I never learned how to roll my R's. That's the one thing I can't do. I can pronounce Spanish words really well. I just can't roll my R's. I can also remember a bunch of Spanish vocabulary. Funny enough, I just don't know how to use a lot of it anymore. Because I remember the vocabulary really well. I know a bunch of Spanish words. I just don't remember complete sentences. That's the part that like kind of fades over time. You remember the vocabulary, but you forget the sentences. So you could say no mañana, but you can't put it in a sentence. I mean, I could put some Spanish stuff in the sentences, obviously, but like, there's just a lot of stuff I forgot. Like, at one point, I was able to literally write an entire essay in Spanish. That's literally the point I got to, but can't really do that anymore. I have to use like a translator or something to kind of jog my memory. And I know translators aren't accurate. I'll usually notice like the cracks and what's wrong with it, and then I'll be like, oh yeah, this is the way you're actually supposed to say that, you know? So I don't use the translator's exact like translation. I just kind of use it to jog my memory a bit, you know? Because sometimes you need that. Sometimes you still have the knowledge in there. It's just not like, it's just in the back of your mind. You have to like trigger it. It's kind of like, my mind does the same thing with Warframe. I could go away from Warframe for a while, forget all about it, or, well, not all about it, but forget, like, a lot of the skill I have in Warframe. And then the moment I I load up the game again, immediately it all comes flooding back before I even enter a mission. I know everything again. Like, just stuff like that. It's just stuff that your mind keeps in the back of it, and you just need to, like, activate it. Because your mind has more knowledge than you use. It's just the knowledge you don't use needs to be triggered sometimes, you know? That's just some... maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm just weird. But I would think that, like, a lot of people are like there, because there's only so much stuff you can remember off the top of your head. Like, you're always going to need your memory jogged with certain things. And you could be a complete genius and have, like, the worst memory. Like, that's definitely possible. I fall under neither of those. I have a decent memory. I forget things, like, 30% of the time. Remember, like, 70% of the time, I want to say. And then, I'm not a genius, but I'm pretty smart. I would say, like... if I were to say, like, how smart I am on a scale from 1 to 10... 9 and 10 being genius, 6 through 8 being like different levels of smart, 5 being average, and then below 5 being stupid, or just at the least a little slow for like 4 maybe. I'm like a 7.5, maybe an 8, but I think a 7.5 is more accurate. Like, I'm a little past mildly smart. I'm definitely a really smart guy. But 8 would be like almost genius. And I'm not that far. Part of it is like, I have a mind that's capable of being that smart. It's just that I want my life to like not revolve around being smart. I want my smartness to be an asset to me rather than my defining quality, you know? Because I have other qualities too, and I don't want to lose those. I have a good sense of humor. If I hyper-focused on, like, my brains, I might not be as funny, you know? I have a good heart. If I hyper-focused on my brains, I might be a meaner person. You never know. I mean, I do use my brains, obviously, and I love learning shit, and I love, like, using the knowledge I know, like... I love being smart. It's just I don't want to only be smart and that be my only quality. I don't want to hyper focus on that one thing and then like be like unbearable in every other aspect. Because that's just not. You know the type of person I'm talking about. You know the type of person I'm talking about. Everybody has met a person like that. Like somebody who's like really smart, but they're like a complete asshole. Everybody has met a person like that. That's not me. Being smart is definitely one of my qualities, but it's not my best quality. I would say, honestly, I think my good heart's my best quality because it's what keeps me out of trouble. And staying out of trouble is kind of like the best thing in life. As someone who used to get in a lot of trouble when they were younger, believe me when I say this. If your heart keeps you out of trouble, it is the biggest fucking quality ever. I'm telling you now. Because nothing's worse than getting into some kind of trouble. Nothing's worse than that. I guarantee. Well, no, there are definitely worse things in life than that, but I'm talking about like nothing's worse personality-wise than getting yourself into trouble all the time. Because when I was a kid, I mean, I've always had a good heart, but when I was a kid, I was clouded by like anger and stuff. You know, stupid kid stuff, you know. I always blamed other people, never took responsibility for my own actions. I mean, in some cases, looking back, it was other people's fault, in my defense. But a lot of times, I should have shared that blame because I was also at fault, or I was the only one at fault, and I was just pinning it on someone else. But there was a few times looking back where I'm like, past me could have reacted better. Current me would have handled that situation a lot better, at least. But the other person was definitely in the wrong. Like a lot of situations looking back when I was younger, it was kind of like a two-way street. Like me and that other person were both in the wrong. That's kind of where a lot of it is. I would say like 50% of memories I have from when I was younger are like looking back, I realized that I should have realized that I was also being like annoying or like a problem or something like. And if I realized that, I could have prevented the situation from getting worse and letting like the other person in the situation affect me like that. You know? I mean, obviously, I should still stand up for myself, but no situation, like, a lot of those situations escalated because I responded with the same behavior that person gave me. Or because I was acting out in the first place, and that's why that person was acting that way. Both of those are really how it went when it was both mine and another person's fault. And then in the case where it was my fault, a lot of times it was behavioral issues like anger and... I held grudges, man. I really did hold grudges when I was younger. I don't really do that anymore. Now when, like, somebody fucks me over, I kind of just cut them out and never talk to them again. I don't hold a grudge. I forget about them. That's what I do. Occasionally I'll remember them, but, like, most of the time they're just not even in my mind. Like, no grudge held. I just forget about them. Because a person who causes you problems, or people you care about problems, doesn't deserve you to be deliberate free in your mind. All I'm saying. That's something I've learned. Like, honestly, the one good thing about me having behavioral issues when I was younger is I did learn, like, more lessons than regular kids would have learned. Like, a normal kid who didn't have those issues probably wouldn't know this stuff and would probably struggle as an adult a little more. They wouldn't have learned that, like, you can't let people live rent-free in your mind. Just cut them out and forget about them, or just try, if they're not that bad a person, try to make things right with them, even if they are the problem. Because there are some cases where, like, you're going to be in a disagreement with a friend or a family member, and they're definitely the problem. There's also cases where you're the problem. And you need to know when that happens, or else you're gonna escalate it. That's another lesson I've learned. Like, realize when it's my fault or it's gonna escalate. But when it's their fault, it's a family or friend, it's their fault that like you're arguing or having a disagreement or whatever. Like, if it's their fault, that's the case where you need to forgive them. That's the case where you just need to be the bigger man, woman, non-binary individual and just forgive them. Now, I'm not saying forget it. They did something wrong. You should definitely like not forget about that, because they could do it again. But like, I'm saying forgive for the moment. If they do it again, that's when you kind of just need to talk to them about it. And when I'm saying this, I'm talking about like healthy friendships, healthy family relationships, healthy romantic relationships even. Like, I'm talking about in a situation where like the other person isn't toxic, they're not like causing you a bunch of mental pain and all that shit. Like, I'm talking about in a situation where like they're actually a good person. You're just in a disagreement or argument because you're just butting heads. People do that. I also just dodge arguments a lot now. So like, the fact I know this stuff is because of how hard I try to dodge arguing. Like, I just hate arguing. Like, arguing makes me feel dreadful, depressed, upset. I don't like it. Whenever I argue with someone, I'm in like a state of, I just want to die for like the next 20 minutes after. Like, I get so emotionally like upset that life feels like pain for the next 20 minutes. Like, have you ever been that upset where like, and when I say upset, I mean angry. Have you ever been so angry that like you get depressed? Because I have. It is not fun. I have gotten so angry that it set me into a depressive episode. Many times. That is why I try to avoid arguments, for one, because I have depression. Don't get it twisted. I have depression. I don't just say I have depression to excuse my emotions. No, I actually have it. I have all the symptoms and everything. I actually have depression. The thing is, most of the time my depression gets triggered, it's from intense emotion. Like, intense negative emotion. Of one of two kinds. Either fear or anger. Now, fear doesn't always do it, but like, the kind of fear I'm talking about is more like dread, like you're dreading something. Like, say, like, frustration also kind of connects to that a bit, because frustration could also lead to a dreadful feeling, but like, I guess it's just dread in general. Like, feeling dread leads me to feel depressed. And so does like being angry. So there's two emotions I try to dodge. I try to dodge being frustrated because it leads to me feeling dread. I try to not get myself into situations where I'm scared. Unless it's like an RE game kind of scare, because that kind of scare is fun. That's not really like the dreadful kind of scare. That's the, oh shit, I want to overcome this. I want to overcome this because this is scary and I want to get past it and have fun with it. Like, the reason why I love RE games, but a lot of other horror games ain't really it for me, is because I've never liked the walking simulator. All you can do is crawl, hide, and walk games. I think Outlast gets a pass because it's really good, but a lot of the other games that do that aren't. Honestly speaking, Bendy and the Ink Machine might be another exception though, because even though I think the first two chapters of, I forget if they're called chapters or episodes, but the first two chapters / episodes of Bendy and the Ink Machine are kind of boring. But after that, the game gets really good. But yeah. Here's me trying to figure out where the fuck I'm supposed to go. In retrospect, I know where I gotta go, but past me did not. But yeah, like I was saying, I try to dodge feeling dread. And I try to dodge getting angry. Like, when I say angry, I mean overly angry. I can be a little angry. I'm not someone who just completely avoids being emotional altogether. I just try to avoid, like, the intense, really intense ones that lead me to feeling depressed. Because sometimes it could lead me to feeling depressed for like 20 minutes. And then it's over. And those times are kind of fine. But there's sometimes I'll be depressed for days over it. There have been times where I get into an argument with someone, and then the next 3 days, I just hate life. I don't want to be around. I want to be gone. Like, depressed. Like, really depressed. Like, dark thought shit. Darker thoughts than I'm actually saying, too. Because, like, sometimes it gets really bad. Not as bad as it used to. I'm definitely like a lot better in the head than I used to be with depression, because I've had depression since like 2018. That's when like the first signs of it started like showing in me. And I didn't really realize I had it until like 2020. But when I thought back, it actually made sense. 2021 was my depression at its worst. And then ever since 2021 ended, it's kind of like slowly gotten better. Because here's the thing, 2019 was a really, really bad year for my mental health. Actually, it was 2019 I realized I had depression. My bad. But 2019 was a really bad year for my mental health. And that's like the year that really like increased my depression level. Like, it was really bad. And then 2020 kind of added a little more, but was a lot more chill than 2020 or 2019 for me personally. I know COVID and all that went on, but that stuff didn't really stress me out too much. I didn't have any family members or friends that died from it. I didn't really mind like quarantining. It didn't really affect me that much because I do go out, but I don't do it enough to where quarantining would like affect me too much. And pretty much all my friends I can talk to online, so I don't need to go out to like if I can't go out to see people, I can always talk to online friends, you know, or friends that I have connection to online as well. Like, I can do that. So it's just like, I don't know. Because my throat is dry. I need to get more drink. It's a good thing this is the last video I gotta record commentary for today. I'm actually doing this pretty early too. I tend to be like, I tend to have the most chill vibes when I record these commentaries early in the morning. And that kind of works in a way because it keeps me like, ooh, that's some good Dr. Pepper. It keeps me entertaining without being annoying, because I know I can get annoying sometimes when I have a lot of energy. Sometimes I'm funny when I got a lot of energy, but sometimes I get annoying. I'm gonna be honest right now, I'm trying not to do that thing where I say, no sir. Like, that's a running gag I started doing in my videos, and it's a gag I'm trying to like avoid doing. Because looking back, I'm like, that shit's annoying.
If you like.
But
Okay,
stuff like sit down, be humble is funny. That's funny. I'm gonna keep doing that. I'm sorry. It's only RE game specific though, and the reason I do that is so I don't do it too much. But the fact half the season of Run Games is RE videos may not help that. I'm sorry if you get tired of that joke, but it's gonna stay as a running gag for RE videos. I'm
Spyro,
sorry.
This is a high-powered portal. It will only work if you're carrying 3 or more orbs.
I don't really have that many running gags. It's just those two. I tried to make the Little Caesars one a running gag, but I've only used it twice like in 2 different videos. If I use it again, I'll officially consider it a running gag, but probably not. Because the reason it worked in RE4 and RE Village was because of the situation those games are in. I don't think I'm going to be able to do it for RE3 or
If only I had a few more.
RE4 separate ways.
Ah,
Greedy motherfucker, taking my gems. This man just snatched my gems. No, that ain't cool. That's not right. That's not okay. I'm referencing a T-Pain song actually right there. That's not cool. That's not right. That's not okay. But I'm gonna be ending off the video right about here. So, bye.